Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about Spider-Man. And the reason why I want to talk about Spider-Man because let's talk about the Parker Industries, because with Spider-Man Beyond, apparently they brought the access of the rest of the assets of Spider-Man. And during that time when Parker Industry when Doc Ock took over Peter Parker's body or whatever, he also copyrighted Spider-Man, and now Miles and Peter Parker themselves can't be Spider-Man. They legally cannot have the name Spider-Man or wear any costume connected to Spider-Man, which is goddamn shit crazy, to be honest. But the reason why I really want to talk about this is because when Secret Empire happened and Doc Ock wanted the company back from Peter, which, whatever, you do what you do, Doc Ock. And Peter literally kind of destroyed the company to make sure that Doc Ock couldn't get his hands on the company at all. Again, I don't know how you guys don't understand, because Parker was a billionaire at the time. I don't think you guys understand how billionaire assets, money work or whatever. But Peter wouldn't be actually broke. I don't know what to tell y'all, but he wouldn't be broke at all. Like, yeah, sure, his company kind of blew up or whatever and stuff like that, and it kind of ruined the company. But he had a lot of assets or whatever that could be sold off, and yeah, he had a CEO, Harry Osborn, but still, it would trickle from the bottom before it gets to the top. So it just kind of doesn't really make any kind of sense that Peter is perpetually broke again. And he was still a tech billionaire at the time. So it wouldn't have made sense that Peter just wouldn't, like, no company wouldn't hire him or buy any of his assets. He would still have been a millionaire. He probably wouldn't have been a billionaire, but he would have definitely been a millionaire at the time, because there was still some tech that people would want to buy from him, and they still would want his mind from it as well. So it's kind of weird that they blew up all of that stuff to kind of go back to status quo thing, which it just doesn't work. You were able to transition Peter so well into a position that actually naturally makes sense for the character. He was funding New York City, he was funding the Avengers, and he had companies around the world at the time. Because remember, y'all did 12 months later, where Peter was actually in charge of the company itself. So, and he was the owner, and he owned what? He owned like 51% of the company's shares. If I was reading it correctly. I haven't read the story in a while now, but I'm kind of confused on, because it goes back to the whole Bruce Wayne thing with the whole Fox family, how they were able to take his money, and that was kind of it, and nobody kind of questioned it. And I'm just like, wait. There are lawyers, there are fees and anything. Peter still wouldn't have been broke. Like, okay, I can understand if it was a startup company, but no, Parker Industry has proven itself to be an international brand and stuff like that. Sure, he sold the company, he could sell the company or whatever, but Peter still would have got a pension. Peter still would have got some money. Peter would have still been able to either start another company, or companies would have been asking for his tech or buying his schematics for his company. I don't understand how Peter is that loosely lapsed on the fundamental of business that he let another company buy up the assets of stuff, which, even if he did, even if he did, there are still a lot of paperwork going involved that Peter just shouldn't have just been absent-minded about it. And I get it. They wanted to bring him back down to his his everyday little status thing. But no, he's a bright young fellow that, to be honest, no offense, Marvel, I'm getting real sick of this shit with him being, you know, miserable and down on his luck or whatever. Yeah, it was cute in the early stories of Spider-Man, but it's been years. It's been years. And every time y'all transition Peter to mature and grow up, here y'all go doing the same shit all over again. No, enough. And the reason why I'm saying enough now, why I have to put my foot down on it, is because you made him a fucking billionaire of a multimedia corporation. And to be honest, I forgot what blew up the fucking company. I don't even damn know. I forgot. But anyway, still, Peter would not be broke at all. You know, he was still an owner, which means he still had to sell that stuff to somebody, and somebody had to still pay him for the company. Now, whatever company does with the stuff, that's great. But without Harry or Peter not knowing nothing about it, it's weird. And again, they still would have some money involved with that. So Peter being broke doesn't make any sense, or people don't want to deal with Peter because of the nonsense that happened with his company doesn't make any logical sense, especially when you want this to be towards the real world. Think for a second, guys. Think for a second. He was running a multi-billion-dollar company for I don't know however many years it was, and it was doing great. It was doing great, and it was beating Stark Industries at the time. Do you know how hard it is to beat Stark Industries? Which means his net worth was close to Tony Stark at the time. Peter was, right? So why did we destroy all of that again? Because reasons? Okay, but you didn't really do much of Fallout, and then you made it like then you brought Peter back to his down on his luck kind of thing, and it doesn't work anymore. You know what I'm saying? You kind of threw that out the window when you made him a billionaire. Does that make sense, guys? Because you know, you got to make it make sense for me. You make it make sense, because right now it don't make sense, and that's the God honest truth of the matter. Is it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. And that's the crux of this. The entire thing is it doesn't make sense. That's all I'm saying. It really doesn't. I mean, as much as I want Peter to I don't know. As much as we don't want Peter to change, change or whatever, he has to kind of change. He has to gotta have some kind of growth. But when you throw him into the world of tech, and you throw him into the world of being a billionaire and running a company or whatever, and then you expect to be like, oh, it's based off of the real world or whatever. You know, Marvel, look outside your window. Okay, well, you know, a young tech billionaire genius wouldn't be broke still. He really wouldn't. Yeah, he might lose a few millions or whatever, but Peter himself wouldn't have lost the money. So it's kind of weird. Like and with the Spider-Man Beyond Corporation, it literally comes out of nowhere, because they didn't focus on it. They kind of, you know, let go of it, and then they kind of made Peter this hated person all over again. And it was old. It was tiring. You didn't really do anything new with it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, either, you know, put Peter and Mary Jane back together, let them get married. Remember, Peter gets a pension from all of these companies, and call it a day. Because, I mean, they still had to buy. People have to understand, you have to buy the company from the owners, the people who have like the money. And the people who have the money is, I mean, the people who own the corporation was like Harry and Peter Parker. There's no way in the world Peter didn't have a plan. It just doesn't make logical sense at all. It really doesn't. or it doesn't make sense that Peter would be broke. He just wouldn't. Yeah, lawsuits, all that great stuff. Yeah. We get it. But bankruptcy protects Peter from losing his money like that. I mean, I'm just being honest. We just like, if you've seen news media, you've seen news outlets, you've seen some of these tech companies get sold off or whatever. You see the people who owns them. You've seen how they keep everything. They keep their assets. They make sure that they still have money, regardless of how much you don't like them or whatever. That's just how it works. And I just don't understand why Peter is broke in the Marvel universe right now. And I don't understand how both Harry and him are so lapsed in judgment that they didn't understand that the company was being sold off piece by piece, which again really doesn't make any damn sense, because nowadays they consolidate a lot of stuff that Peter company should, when it was on the market, it should have been notified towards Peter himself, because again, he's supposed to still have some kind of shares in the company that they have to ask for. You don't just lose the shares. But of course, it's the same thing with Bruce Wayne losing his billions. It is what it is. Like these people, they don't care about how money works, because they don't want these characters to have money, because money, the root of all evil, and they're white males and straight. And I'm just like, okay, but that still doesn't stop the fact that money, the way money works is how it works. You just can't change the law of how money is transferred, money works, and how companies transition, and how consolidation and stuff works. Like, I'm just being honest. I know I'm not like the expert on business, and I'm not trying to be, but I'm just saying, for the story reasoning wise, and for a story reason, it just doesn't make logical sense. It don't make the sense God gave, to be honest. So y'all make it make sense to me. Y'all let me know. But I'm just saying my piece on the situation, because I just don't understand what's going on right now with Peter Parker and the Spider-Man Beyond Corporation, and the fact that him and Miles are not allowed to really be Spider-Man, and Peter lets his brother be Spider-Man because they came to him and whatever, which is kind of weird, because Ben Reilly shouldn't even be known by anyone as Spider-Man at all. Like, nobody should even know. But of course they were like, well, we promised to release his girlfriend or whatever. And I'm just like, okay. And to be honest, I hope towards the end of this arc, it'll reestablish Peter as a tech mogul, to be honest, because I think that's the perfect transition right now, as Peter always didn't use his geniusness just because, like, he's a genius, he's a scientific genius, but he never used it for gain. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but he's a good person, and he should be able to actually transition his mind. He should be able to transition it into making money. He is a smart person. He's a tech savvy person, and I just don't understand why he's not allowed to do anything with that geniusness besides be this broke genius who struggle to make rent every week. No, I'm sorry. No, we're done with that. I've been done with it. I know a lot of people are done with it. It's the same thing when Marvel, when they do movies and animated series, they want to put him back in high school so we can go through his high school years all over again. No, we're sick of it. We're sick of it. You, like I said, you got Miles Morales for it. You got Miles for that high school bullshit. If you want to do a high school Spider-Man, be my guest, but use Miles Morales. I'm sorry. Y'all can get mad all y'all want to. No. Peter is a young adult now, and he needs to start acting like a fucking young adult, and he needs to start being a young adult. The time of being the little eternal bachelor is over. That's how I feel about the situation. I'm over it, and I know quite a few of you guys are probably over it as well. Like, let's just call it what it is. And that's how I feel about the situation. Let's call it what it is. It's time to mature Peter Parker and let him finally have some kind of form of happiness, and let him have some kind of form of being with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, him and Mary Jane need to get married. They need to start their family, and Peter needs to be doing a job that's bringing in some money, even though Mary Jane Watson makes more than him. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But tell me what you guys think. Comments below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.